Okay, let's take a walk around this thing. First thing that I notice is that it's the power bronze color. That tells me that it's about mid 50s to maybe early 60s. I love the cast iron base on these things. I just love the look of these and the kind of retro Art Deco, jeweled side there and the depth gauge, and just the look of it is really cool to me. Let's see what we got here. We got a 1/2 horsepower motor, Craftsman. Everything seems well rusted. We have the Craftsman symbol here. Let's look at the cutter head. These blades look to be in really good shape, honestly. You can tell it was stored this way because this way has all the rust on it. Has rust on the top. It's got a 2 conductor cord. Yeah, we're changing that. Maybe no time to get electrocuted. This bolt here is really bent, so we'll have to address that. Obviously the rust and stuff on there. No belt, so we'll have to address that. And there's no support, I'm going to call it. There's normally a piece of sheet metal. What's this? There's normally a piece of sheet metal that goes right here. It gets bolted on there with a hinge here, and then it comes out with a slot in it, and that's what kind of helps support the fence. This doesn't have that. That's probably going to need to be fabbed up. There's the tag, for those of you that know more about it than I do. Let's see what else we got here. Otherwise, it looks pretty complete except for those 2 things. When I refinish it, I believe that I will refinish it in the closest I can find to power bronze. And I don't even know if it runs yet. This switch down here seems pretty janky. I'm gonna wait until I'm done doing that, see if I gotta mess with the motor at all. Those motors are pretty good, they'll probably run, but I want them safe and I want them grounded. So let's get into it. Hey, if you like what you see here or you found it interesting or useful, why don't you give that subscribe button a click. Maybe give us a like, maybe hit the little bell thingy, lets you know when we put up new videos. What? Huh? Oh, my lawyer would like a word with you.
Danger, Will Robinson! Danger! No, Will Robinson! Danger!
Alright, so I think the first thing I'm going to do is separate the jointer from the base. That way I can get this up on a table and get it so I'm not kneeling here. I got these juiced down pretty good. They're square, looks like 9/16. I juiced those last night knowing that I'm going to do this. Okay. Seems like it's putting some pressure on here. I think it's falling off it's not supported the column. See what I'm saying? And full, absolutely full of sawdust. So this screw was apparently loose. Yep, it is. All right, this guy can come out. We got the other one on the other side. As you can see, it's missing this one, but we have one more on the other side. Okay, one more. Let's see. This time, I think I'm going to tighten down this screw here, this little square screw here, so it doesn't fall. And then I'll try to, oh yeah, this guy's just loose. He's just loose. Okay. All right, I think I should be able to lift this guy off and put him on the table. Let's see. All right, I did kind of want to show you this. This guy's absolutely full of sawdust, 70-year-old sawdust. Okay, I don't know if it's 70 years old. The jointer's about 70 years old. All right, let's start with the disassembly. We have the guard here, and that is kind of unique. The thing that goes in is spring-loaded. The guard just comes up. It's just got this hexagon thing in there. That's all you need to do to take that off. take off the fence. This bolt is really bent. Oh, it came off finger tight. You can see that. He's really bent. I'm going to have to straighten him out. He's got this, I just replaced him, but he's got the standard screw head on him, so I think I gotta have to reuse him. All right. Let's loosen this guy up. And he is rusted pretty tight. Is he gonna come off or no? He's not gonna wanna come. Get more juice. Should have juiced this guy last night. Alright, what can we do? Might have to be hammer time, if you know what I'm saying.
Stop! Hammer time!
We'll loosen this guy up. Let's just take him all the way off. See what we're up against. Nice heavy cast iron. Oh, he's coming. Okay, I was able to slide him off. That juice did its work. Okay, next, let's try the support here. Oh, yeah, he's coming off. Okay. Now we're going to have to tilt them up so I can see what we're doing here. Looks like we got to stop here. He looks very rusted. Yeah, that's going to be a... Oh, that's going to be tough. What's he got on the other side? Nothing. Yeah, that's going to be tough. All right, we'll try to get these guys first. 1/2 inch. Not too bad. Wow, those are very rusted. What, I got a star washer, a regular washer, and a lock washer on them. They do not want these guys going anywhere. And there's a bunch of crud in there too. Okay, how are we doing here? We're doing good, okay? Now we're gonna go out on the other side. Here's the other side, looks same as the other side, so let's get after it. Tight, but not too bad, honestly. Thought maybe I was gonna jinx it there for a second. Okay. 30 seconds. There we go. And I got my long one here too. It wasn't too bad. Okay, that guy's probably going to refuse to come off. Hopefully I don't need a puller. Let's try very gently tapping it out. There we go. And we have the key in here. It's one of those little half-round keys. And we have a little spacer here. And I can feel that spacer getting stuck. Yeah, see, it was hit him with a file on the end here because he's belled a little bit. Oh yeah, and there's all sorts of burrs and stuff. Okay. There, I got her knocked down. Okay. Bolts here that hold on to the dovetail. There's this guy, and then there's 2 bolts back here. Those all look like 7/16 to me. Let's see if that is indeed correct. Yes, sir, 7/16. Trying to be a little careful here. Okay, I got off all the bolts that hold them. The 4 bolts that hold the dovetails. Now I just got to get this guy. He's a larger size, so I got to switch. What is he? 1/2 inch, 9/16 maybe. Half inch. Okay, I should be able to slide this table off now. Let's see. There we go. More 70-year-old sawdust in here. Yeah. All right, so I turned them around, and this guy just kind of slid out sideways. So I got him. As I look at this, it has these 2 holes right here, and if this is anything like the 113s, the newer model of this jointer, those set screws hold this cutter head onto the shaft. Unlike Deltas, it's not machined from one piece. This cutter head has a hole in it, and the shaft goes through that hole. Those are normally stuck pretty good, but we'll see. Both of these bearings, they are press fit to the shaft, and then the ID is, and then the OD is pressed fit to this piece here. So those can be tough to get off. I'll go put this in a vise maybe and see if I can't hammer that guy off. There'll be a retention pin on this end, there usually is. Let's see what we can see here. Juice it up. Oh yeah, there's that circlip that Craftsman was so very fond of. Try to clean that up a little bit. I got her lubed. Oh yeah, I can see her now. Those things also, even if you got the right tools, they're not the easiest thing to get off. And I got the right tools. It's a little circlip remover. These guys, they get the really tiny holes in here though. Let's see if I can get them off. That was a piece of cake. This whole thing's been pretty easy. Nothing's been super tight. Nothing's been rusted in place. So what I will do is I will put this in a vise and then try to pound that guy through. Again, it's not uncommon for these guys to be bulged on the end there. Okay, so I was able to get both of the bearings off. This guy, like I said, if I used heat and like an air hammer, I could probably get him out of the cutter head, but I don't need to do that really. These are the bearings here, and they seem in, let me see, this one's a little, that one's questionable, that one's coming out. And how about this one? Nope, this one seems really good, but this one is a little questionable. I can feel it a little bit, so this guy's gonna get a new bearing on that side. Okay, so it looks like this is the key right here. If I can unscrew this guy, I can screw this main thing off of this. That will allow me to take all this out after I get that shaft out. So the first thing is I gotta get this. Yeah, that doesn't want to come. Okay. There we go. Okay. So this guy should come off. Yeah, there he goes. Now when I unscrew this, left-hand thread, by the way, here, okay, I should be able to unscrew this guy right off the end of this shaft, right? There we go. Okay, and now the little pointer deal is pressed on or something. So I think I have to take this off in order to get that pointer out of there. I don't want to break anything on here. Let's see if I can see anything on that pointer, and I can't. I could probably tap that off, but I'm not gonna try that. I'm gonna do this guy. 7/16 looks like. 7/16, yeah. So let's get him off. Okay, and there's a washer on there, of course. And then I should be able, there we go. So now all that adjustment stuff is off there. And I'll put that in a pile to be wire wheeled. A lot of rust down here. All right, I normally probably wouldn't take off the outfeed table, but as part of this video, I'm gonna show you how to set that up on these jointers. So I'm gonna take off these guys right here. And then there's one right down in there. So I'll take those guys out. Okay, there's one. And I might be able to get that with a wobbly. Universal, whatever you want to call it. Nothing on this thing has been super tight, so knock wood. Nope. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get a wrench on those guys. That one wasn't super tight, but he was pretty tight. Same length as the other one. Thank goodness, I don't gotta remember that. Oh, boy, that guy's tight. There we go. That should remove the outfit table. Yep, there we are. More crusty sawdust in there. All right, something to be aware of too, like the 113s, these guys have these conical washers. These are very important to setting up the table, so don't lose those. Here's the third one here. There's 3 bolts that hold this outfeed table on, and these are very important parts. They're conical washers. We'll get into that later. Well, there you have it. This is the whole Magilla, everything taken apart. As far as I'm going to take it apart, I will do, I'll take these out and sharpen them, the blades out of the cutter head, but that's probably a different video. Everything else is here. All of the hardware is in one of these little magnetic bowls so I don't lose it. But that's what there is to it. Everything looks in pretty good shape except for the rust and some 50-year-old sawdust. So we'll get to the nitty-gritty, the wire wheeling, the sanding, the polishing, the painting. But I wanted to show you how everything looks here before we get to that. So there it is. Okay, so now for the part that you don't see very much of because it's boring to watch. Anything that has some rust on it, just about everything in this pile here gets wire wheeled. This gets wire wheeled. If it's got rust on it, this gets wire wheeled. Everything gets wire wheeled if it's got rust on it. Some of the stuff, like the side here, what I'll do is I'll scrub that down with a Scotch Brite and some Purple Power or Simple Green or Dawn dish soap or whatever I have. And then I'll wire wheel it with a cup wheel on my grinder. If it's bad, you need to do that to get like this latex paint off and stuff like that. Then it gets, once it's dry, I usually hose them down with some brake clean, and then it goes to paint. So I won't bore you with all the wire wheel stuff. I'll show you 30 seconds of it, and then, we'll move on. All right, so here we are at the wire wheel, and I kind of made my own grinder to get around stuff. I welded these extensions on here. This is actually a motor that I got for free. People up here give away radial arm saws. This is off a Craftsman radial arm saw. It makes it a 2.5 horsepower, and it rotates at 3450. So it's a very powerful grinder and or wire wheel and buffer on the other end. This is just a sample of some of the stuff that I'm gonna do here real quick. This is a piece on the outside. See, it's got all this rust here. These, bolt heads and even the threads I clean up. If it gets really small, this isn't really small, but if it gets any smaller than this, I will normally use a vice grip to hold it. And of course, I have gloves. I have my big canvas apron on. I have a full face shield, because it doesn't matter if you even got a brand new wire wheel, it throws wires every once in a while. So I'll just show you a very short bunch of this. You get the idea. It takes it down all the way to the metal, and then I'll give it a couple coats of self-etching primer and then color. So that's what I'm doing for the next 2 hours. Okay, so here's all of the fasteners, all of the steel metal fasteners, and I've wire wheeled them all. I'll just show you. I hose them down with some lubricant, WD-40 or whatever, pretty liberally. Prevent them from rusting, and it also has a little bit of a detergent property if there's anything left on them. That wire wheel does a really good job, but it also lubricates them up for ease of reassembly. So I don't want them rusting because they're down to the bare metal. So that's just a little short aside. All right, so I don't know if you can see this very well on the video, but there's surface rust here. It's rough, it's a little bubbly. That's why I wire wheel all this. And again, I'll just give you a couple of minutes of it. PP, personal protective gear, full face shield. And I use a grinder, and since I like to do it fast, an angle grinder with a cup wheel that has the braided wire. This is very aggressive. Wear your gloves, wear your eye protection. I'll just give you a couple minutes of this, but all of the pieces that are too big for me to hold against the wire wheel, I'll normally do this way. So here we go. So you can see it's still rough because it's a cast piece, and I like that look. I'm just getting off all the surface rust and stuff, and because I'm doing this, of course, I will have to give it a coat of that self-etching primer. So I won't make you watch the next 45 minutes, an hour of me doing this, but I'll just do it to all these pieces. And even inside and out, even inside, if I can get to it, I'll do it just because I'm a little anal that way. All right, so I ran over everything with the cup wheel, and you can see I even hit the tables. You can save yourself a boatload of abrasive pads on your orbital grinder if you hit this with the cup wheel before you grind it. And hit it hard. You got to press really hard to get that off. But it does save you quite a few pads, so bonus tip for the day. Okay, so now I'll brake clean all this stuff down, and I'll mask off. After that, I'll mask off. There's some little badging. Let me look over here. Oh, there's some badging that is riveted on. That is a blind hole. I can't get to the back side of the hole. There's a casting back there. So I'm not taking that off. I have found that I generally damage them. So I will mask that off. And there's another badge with the number, the stock number, that I'll mask off. And then we get 2 coats of etching primer and 2 coats of color. And I got a new color I'm going to try on this. I got it from a guy named Salvador from a Facebook page, a Craftsman Collector's Facebook page. He said Champagne Mist is a very close match to Power Bronze. So I'm going to try that. And I'll bring you back for that. I got to mask stuff and put down paper and that kind of stuff. All right, got my first coat of primer on here, self-etching automotive primer, and it's cold out, so the shop's sealed up, so I'm a hired Snoop Dogg at Burning Man. In any case, I'm gonna let this dry, I'm gonna turn on a fan, and I'll give her another coat of this, and then we'll get 2 coats of Champagne Mist. All right, I just thought I'd take a second to show you the second coat of color. That Champagne Mist is a very good match for Power Bronze. This guy's a motor mount. He's still on his second coat of primer, but these guys, I think that's going to look fantastic. That is really a cool color. It's such a retro thing to go even over here with the base, to go with that retro cool base look. I can't wait to get her together. Okay, might as well start on the stand while that stuff's drying. Let's see. I juiced this all. These are the mounts for the jointer. They use this particular stand for a number of power tools, and then they just made different plates you could put on there for whichever one you had. This one's obviously for a jointer, as is this one. And they just have these square-headed bolts that lock it to the columns, I'll call them. Let's see, motor. Okay, it's just got a big steel strap around that column. How's that guy on there? He looks on there pretty tight. And, of course, it's a square-headed bolt, so I can't use any power tools. Let's see what we got here. 9/16. I juiced those all up last night, so let's see if I can do this without getting hurt. Let's try her now. There we go. Motor's off. Ugh. Boy, these old motors, cast iron ones, are quite heavy. All right, so I can take these poles out here too with these square bolts. Boy, those guys are tight. Let's set this aside. All right. Square bolts. It's one of them. This guy's absolutely full. I mean full all the way to the top of sawdust, probably 50, 70 years old. All right, this guy. Oh, he didn't want to give it up either. And this guy's clean. All right, so these guys, same thing, rinse and repeat. I will wire wheel them and I'll give them 2 coats of primer, 2 coats of paint. All right, I just thought I'd take a second to show you the second coat of color. That Champagne Mist is a very good match for Power Bronze. This guy's a motor mount. He's still on his second coat of primer, but these guys, I think that's going to look fantastic. That is really a cool color. It's such a retro thing to go even over here with the base, to go with that retro cool base look. I can't wait to get her together. So let's start on that. All right, all the paint is on there. Primer, paint, 2 coats, dried overnight. Looks really good. I'm really gonna like that color, I think. Even the base over here turned out fantastic. You can see that wire wheel really does a good job of removing all that rust. So let's get to assembly. All right, if you're a regular subscriber to the channel, you've seen me do this thing before, this process before on cast iron tables. This one's in good shape. You'll notice I did not mask it off when I painted it because that'll all come off when I grind it. So what I normally do is hose this down with some WD-40 or other penetrating oil and then take my random orbit sander to it. This one I think I'm going to start because this one's in such good shape. I'm going to start with 220. You can see it almost immediately takes off a lot of that stuff, and I use the lubricant as both a lubricant and a cleaning agent. I can wipe this off now so it won't clog my paper so bad. So I'll just wipe it off with a rag, and you can see it is already, what was that, 10 seconds? It's already come around wherever I hit it. So I'll normally do, I don't, do it until I'm satisfied with it. So here we go again. I mean, still really dirty. It's got to start cleaning up here next. You can see when I wipe it off, you can see there's places that are still giving me a little grief. Here, 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 here. So I'll focus on those. But it's really coming off well. This table was in excellent shape. I don't know if you notice this, but it's not, each time I wipe it off, the next round is not as thick or as heavy as it was the previous round. Now, some guys go nuts on this. Some guys go up to 5,000 grit sandpaper. I'm not doing this for a museum or anything. I'm doing this for use. So I'll normally stop at 220. I don't need a mirror finish, but I do like it nice. And I also, you can see the Blanchard grinding marks on here. I also don't like to go deep enough to take those off because I don't want to actually change the dimension of the table or the flatness of the table. I just want to get off the rust, and you can see there's a little spot of pitting here and a little spot there. I'll see what I can do with those. Now I know this is kind of boring to watch, but I didn't want to speed it up because I wanted to show you how fast it goes and the whole process. I won't, make you watch me do the other table, but I will just continue to do this. This is almost gone. That's almost gone. Got a little bit down here. I'll just continue to do this. Literally, it'll probably only take me another, 15 minutes to get this table where I want it. So I'll do this one. I'll do the other table, and then we'll be ready for reassembly. Okay, I wanted to bring you in kind of close here. These are the adjusters, and I have wire wheeled and lubricated the gibs and the ways here with 30 weight oil. The manual calls for 20 or 30 weight, so I use 30 weight. I've also pre-positioned these 3 conical washers. Remember I told you those are very important. So I positioned them on the table, and I've got the table about where it should be space-wise for this main casting, which is currently upside down, to be lifted up and placed down on there. I also have my bolts ready here. And if everything lines up, I'll be able to get them right in. These bolts have the washer on them. As do the other ones there. So those longer bolts will go into here. These 3 lock nuts, and I have a whole different video. I'll put the link in the description on how to adjust all that stuff. But right now I'm just going to place it on. Get you in close here. You remember these guys, they have 3 washers on them. They got the lock washer, the thicker regular washer, and then that star washer. I'm just putting these on finger tight for right now on both sides. And make sure you get this guy in here the right way so that the longer shaft with the pulley on it is pulling out the back, shorting out the back. And I'm just going to put these down finger tight. It's easier to get this in before you put the other table on, so that's why I'm doing it now. You'll notice I have this all polished up and it's stripped out. I haven't got the blades in it. I feel like I don't want to cut myself that much this time, so we'll leave the blades out until the end. All right, here we go. I'm going to lift up this main casting, and I'm going to place it on those bottom ones. There we go. I'm looking down through the hole here, and that guy started, those conical washers were in place, and they didn't get moved around when I set it up there. I was very careful. If I weren't mistaken, I think these guys were half, yeah. All right, I'll bring you in and show you what I was just doing because I know you couldn't see it very well. All right, so that guy, that guy, that guy on the one table, and 1, 2, 3, 4 on that. So the tables are on. Okay, here's something else I wanted to show you. This is the end here with this rod that goes on for the fence. You can move the fence in and out. And they have kind of a weird way of adjusting that. You can see this guy's got a slot in him, and that's angled. So as you move this other piece, that does not have the slot in him, but he's got this rounded edge here. If you move this guy up and down before you tighten it, it moves that in and out a small amount. So that's how you adjust that. A couple of other little tidbits that I've learned today. Every one of those days where you screwed everything up, that was today with me. Okay, this piece, a little shield for the blade guard. Put that on before you put this table on. These two bolts, you can see way down in there, right there. That one and that one that hold on this piece, to hold on the rod on the end. Put those in there before you put that table on. Okay, the end's pretty simple. There's just 3 screws that go into 3 holes in the fence here. Start them. Here we go. So this is the fence lock here. You can see, put it on that, lock it down. You can lock it at whatever angle you want. And then this little lever right down here locks your in and out. So we'll go this way and then we'll just lock her down. So that all works. That looks good. All right, for the blade guard, it's hexagonal and it fits into this hexagonal spring-loaded torsion spring underneath there. So what we'll have to do is we'll have to move this fence back off here, and then we'll kind of have to pre-spring load it, whichever one works here. That's too much. We'll go to one less than that. Right there. Okay, put this fence back in position. Fence looks good. Spring loaded thing looks good. Okay. We'll work on the base and then we'll work on getting this on the base and then we'll do all the adjustments. Okay, assembly of the base is pretty straightforward. We'll get the tubes in here and we'll get the pieces on top. Tube. And we have this square-headed bolt here, which will torque down. I'm going to torque this down pretty tight. Not enough to put a dent in the tube, but enough to support the weight of that jointer. All right, tube number 2. I can feel it slip down in there. It's not going to be exact as far as level yet, but I'll level her out after I get her all together. Now I'll put these 2 top pieces on. And I'm just going to get these just a skosh under the level of the pipe here. There's kind of 2 rings inside that support it, and I want it fully supported, but I don't want it resting on the, I want it resting on these pads, not on the pipe. Okay, I moved the jointer on it and got it on the stand, and you can see this hole this hole and this hole all line up. Now I'll bolt them down. Okay, we have a bolt with a lock washer on it, a washer for the bottom, and a nut for the bottom. So let's go in here. Get these guys going. You know the story, you got to get them all lined up and in the hole before you start tightening stuff down. All right, so here's the motor that goes with that jointer, and it seems to spin freely, could probably use a good cleaning. I'll probably compress air this guy out. Half horsepower, 3450. I have it plugged in, and I'm going to very carefully on this completely jankified switch try to turn it on here without getting electrocuted. If sparks go flying, somebody call the cops. Okay, it runs, a little noisy, but we'll lube it up. It is a ball bearing motor, so that doesn't surprise me. We're unplugged now, so we're safe. It's got a 2-conductor plug, which I don't like. I'll switch that out for a 3 with a ground, just to be safe. What we'll do is we'll wire wheel this up. I will lube it up. You're saying you can't lube it up. They're permanently sealed ball bearings. Yeah, you can still get some lube in there. For the brushes and the centripetal switch, that kind of stuff. So let's get to that. First thing we should do is take off this pulley. 5/32, not on that tight, although it does have a, you can see here the key is sticking out a little bit. That makes me believe that this is not going to want to come off, that and all the corrosion. So, you know the drill here. Let's try to tap it off gently. Let's try to tap it on. Yeah, okay, I got to move it. I got it on a little bit. We'll juice it. We'll take this Allen key, this Allen bolt out, and we'll get juice down there too. Juice down there, juice here. Okay, let's see what we can get now. I can use a puller on this if I have to, and I might have to on this guy. Oh no, he's moving pretty good. Let's see if I can pull that guy out. Okay, got the key out just by hand. So, like I said, it's very common on these to have to be bulged here a little bit on the edge. You know, someone pounded that on there. So I'll take a quick file to it just to see what I can do here. Just the very end, the last, I don't know, 1/16 of an inch, 1/8 inch, and it popped right off. Yeah, that's great. Okay, put these someplace safe. Now, this is kind of too big for me to hold against the wire wheel. So I will, if you can't bring this to the wire wheel, bring the wire wheel to this. I will hit this with my grinder with the cup brush on. All right, got my gloves, got my eye protection. Let's see. All right, so I got this end cap, this cast iron end cap, cleaned up in short order. Again, you don't need to watch me do that for another 20 minutes, so I'll just clean up the rest of it. All right, so I got the motor all wire wheeled, and I got her masked off for the plate and the reset. And I was gonna do a two-tone, you know, leave the middle a different color, maybe black or something, a Tommy two-tone, if you will. But now I think I'm just going to paint it all champagne mist or powder bronze or whatever you want to call it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I won't get it until after it's painted, but you know, I do appreciate your input. So let me know what you think about two-tone or all just champagne mist. Okay, it's the next day. Motor's all dry. It turned out fantastic. I'm happy that I did not go with a two-tone. So now we got to put the pulley on and we got to mount the motor to the jointer. So pulley goes on with this. There's a key here, keeper, and I'm going to put this on this way, and a pulley that goes on there with a set screw. And if I know my set screws like I know my set screws, that is going to be a 5/32. And it is a 5/32. It's important to, one, get her locked down nice and tight, and two, make sure that that key contacts the entire pulley so it stays on there. Also, make sure you got it on the right side. These motors are reversible. You don't want your blade spinning the wrong way. All right, now it'd probably be better if I got that jointer up here on the table and then I could get you in, but I'm not gonna herniate myself doing that. That thing's heavy. So I'll bring you down there and we'll put the motor into the jointer on the floor here. Okay, so I wanted to show you how the motor mounting works. I grabbed a belt that I have that is approximately the right length, and you'll see it's not tight enough. So how you tighten that belt is you lower this whole mounting system on that leg, and how you do that is you have these two bolts right here which are on the end of that U-bolt, and you loosen those up, move it down, and then tighten them back up, and that'll tighten up this belt. All right, so now I got the blades all sharpened up. They're very sharp, and I have them installed in the head. I have a whole video on how to do that and how to align your cables and get the blades at the right height. For a 113, that's a newer version of this one from Craftsman. This one has 3 ways that you can set the blade height. Number 1, these jack screws in here. You can move the blades up and down a little bit by moving those jack screws up and down. I got these just about where I want them. Number 2, the lock screws and their adjustments, but it will give you some height difference on the outfeed table. Okay, so that outfeed table then in relation to your blades can be moved up and down. Number 3, this is unique to the 103s, is on either side they have the pillow blocks, or the bearings can be moved up and down. Okay, you can see this slot here, and these are 2 lock screws, and there's a jack screw right here that goes against this stud. All right, so you can move this jack screw, you can screw that in and out, and it'll move either side of the bearings up and down, and you can get them aligned that way. I'm going to use all 3. I'm going to level the table. You look at the other video, it's a process. Then the blades are already set, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to I'm going to get these tables exactly parallel, the infeed and outfeed. Then I'm going to lay a straight edge across there, and then I'm going to use this jack screw here to jack this side of the blade up until it just touches it at apogee, and then the same on the other side. So if you look right here, you can see I got to go up, geez, maybe a 1/16 of an inch. Same thing on the other side. So that's how I'm going to use for my final parallel. Then I'll lock down all those screws. So I got to fabricate 2 pieces. I got to fabricate the pointer that goes underneath here and points to the like protractor part here. And then I have to fabricate the support that runs from here and that this thing goes through and sticks out here. So I got to fabricate 2 pieces. Okay, so first I'll make the little pointer piece. I got a piece of probably 24 gauge here. And I will drill the hole in it first just so I don't have to hold a little tiny piece while I'm drilling a hole in it, and then I'll cut it out. Okay, I just got done making the pointer. I'll show you that in a little bit. And then the other one, I'm just eyeballing it, the support. It looks like it's just 2 inches wide and about 11 inches long. So I know this is 2 inches wide, there's 11 inches. I'm gonna mark that. I'm just gonna cut it off here so it's gonna be a little long. I'll put a radius on this end up here, and I'll cut a slot through the middle. And I'll figure out those dimensions after I cut out the piece. So okay, so as I'm making this piece, it's got to go. This piece right here has got to go through it to clamp it, and that piece is 297. So I'll need it a little bigger than that so it'll slide over there. I measured the length from here to here at the shortest, and the longest it goes from about 3 to 8 inches. So, all right, so I got this piece all cut out, and I'll clean this stuff up, you know, later before I paint it. And then I cut just a piece of piano hinge I had lying around. So my thought is to wire feed weld this guy right about there. You know, so I avoid the hinge, maybe a little bit longer. I'm concerned about how thin that is, and I already ground the chrome plating off, but I'll wire feed it and then see how that works and fits. All right, so there you have it. I kind of booger welded that up with a wire feed. That I was concerned because it's pretty thin stuff. This the hinge. This is thicker, but deburred it, and now I will prime it and paint it. And there it is, that support all finished. You can see I got her screwed in up here. Looks pretty good. And then the pointer over here, I painted that black so it would stand out a little bit. You can see that right there. So looks nice. Well, there you have it. Finally finished this thing. Man, this thing was a lot of work, but boy did it turn out great. I had to do some fabrication on the back end over here, but it was pretty complete. This thing now runs like an absolute dream. Sharpen the blades, cuts nice. You get this nice long shavings off of it. It is still period correct. I didn't do anything other than update the electrical a little bit. Otherwise, it's as it was when it was sold. What would I do different? Not much. I think this color is great. Thanks again, Salvatore, for the suggestion for that. And I think this thing is ready for another 70, 75 years of great service to whoever ends up with it. So I'm gonna move along. I got a couple of Craftsman drill presses I'm doing next, so stay tuned for that. If you like this kind of stuff, please subscribe and like. Helps me out a lot, lets me do additional projects. So thanks so much for watching. Here's the reveal.